In the days of old, long before the reign of kings and prophets, there was a land on the southeastern coast of the great Mediterranean Sea, a land inhabited by many nations and peoples. Among these peoples were the Canaanites, descendants of Neolithic farmers and urban dwellers who had settled in the region long before the Hebrew tribes came forth from Egypt. The land was lush and fertile, a place of trade and commerce, of cities bustling with life and culture. But this land was also a battleground of mighty empires and fierce peoples, each vying for control and dominance. In those ancient times, Egypt was a powerful empire, stretching across lands and seas. The pharaohs, mighty kings of Egypt, sought to control Canaan and its riches. They established fortresses and garrisons along the coast, especially at strategic points like Gaza, which served as a vital gateway for trade and military expeditions. Egypt's influence stretched over Canaan for centuries, and the people living there were often under their rule or influence, paying tribute and serving as local governors loyal to Pharaoh. During the Middle Kingdom of Egypt, the land of Canaan was a vital part of Egypt's empire. Gaza became an important administrative hub, overseen by Egyptian governors. The cities along the coast, such as Ashdod and Ashkelon, prospered as centers of trade. Ashdod became famous for its purple dye and fine fabrics, while Ashkelon thrived as a port city, bustling with merchants from Greece and beyond. Goods from all over the Mediterranean flowed through these ports: wine, olive oil, fine pottery, and the region was a melting pot of cultures and peoples. But as history often unfolds, prosperity was not eternal. Around the 12th century BC, the land faced a sudden and catastrophic upheaval known as the Bronze Age collapse. A series of droughts, famines, plagues, civil unrest, and wars among mighty empires brought darkness over the region. Cities once thriving suddenly lay in ruins. This period of chaos is marked by the mysterious invasions of the Sea Peoples, a confederacy of raiders and warriors whose ships swept across the shores, destroying cities, burning towns, and leaving devastation in their wake. Among these Sea Peoples were a group called the Paliset, who appeared to be the most numerous and formidable of the invaders. Their raids reached as far as Egypt, where Pharaoh Ramses III fought to defend his kingdom. The inscriptions and reliefs depict their ships and warriors, fierce and relentless. After their defeat by Ramses III, many prisoners of war from the Paliset were captured and resettled in the land of Canaan, specifically in the southwestern coastal plain, where they were placed in fortresses to guard Egypt's northeastern borders. These refugees and captives from the Sea Peoples began to settle among the surviving Canaanites. Over time, these groups intermingled, and a new people emerged, known to history as the Philistines. The name Philistine comes from the Egyptian word Paliset, which means invaders or sea raiders. The Philistines were not merely remnants of a defeated enemy but a new force on the land, possessing a distinct culture, language, and way of life. Archaeology and biblical records tell us that the Philistines established 5 major cities: Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gaza, Gath, and Ekron, forming what was called the Philistine Pentapolis. These cities became centers of power, wealth, and military strength. The Philistines brought with them new technologies, including iron weapons and chariots, giving them an edge over their neighbors. They also introduced new styles of pottery, architecture, and religious practices, blending their traditions with those of the local Canaanites. The Philistines were often depicted as formidable warriors, proud and fierce. Their armor and helmets resembled those of the Iron peoples, who inhabited distant lands across the seas. Their diet included pork, unusual for the region at that time, suggesting a maritime influence, as pigs were hardy animals suited for sea voyages. Many of their household remains show patterns of pottery and building styles similar to those of the Iron, a mysterious people from across the sea, possibly from islands like Cyprus or Crete. But where did the Philistines truly originate? Scholars debate their roots. Some believe they descended from the Iron peoples, sea traders and warriors from the Aegean or Mediterranean islands, bringing with them their gods, customs, and technologies. Others suggest they were local Canaanites who adopted new customs after surviving the chaos of the Bronze Age collapse, blending cultures into what became the Philistine identity. The biblical account, written centuries later, portrays the Philistines as enemies of Israel and the Hebrew tribes. They are described as a proud and warlike people who lived in the land of Canaan and often clashed with the Israelites. Their cities, especially Gaza and Ashkelon, became centers of opposition. The stories of Samson, the mighty judge of Israel, tell of his conflicts with the Philistines. Samson, endowed with supernatural strength, fought and defeated many Philistine foes, tearing apart their temples and killing their champions. His story is a testament to the ongoing struggle between the Hebrew people and the Philistines. Later, the story of King David unfolds, anointed by God to be Israel's greatest king. David's encounters with the Philistines are legendary. He first gains fame as a young shepherd who kills Goliath, a giant Philistine warrior, with a sling and a stone. This victory marks the beginning of David's rise to power. David's military campaigns against the Philistine cities expand Israel's borders and diminish Philistine power. Despite occasional peace treaties and intermarriages, the enmity between Israel and Philistia persisted for generations. As time passed, the power of the Philistines waned. They faced new threats from empires rising to the east, the Assyrians and Babylonians. The Assyrian king Tiglath-Pileser and later Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon conquered the region, destroying cities like Gath and Ekron. The Babylonians deported many Philistines, scattering them across their empire. This upheaval eroded the distinct Philistine identity, blending it into the wider culture of the ancient Near East. Despite these hardships, remnants of the Philistine people persisted. Their influence lingered in the land, and their cultural practices continued to shape the history of the region. The Romans, much later, renamed the land Palestine, after the Philistines, embedding their memory into history and geography. Throughout their history, the Philistines remained a people of resilience and adaptation. Their story is woven into the biblical narrative, illustrating the ongoing struggle between the forces of faith and opposition, between divine promise and worldly power. Their cities stood as witnesses to centuries of conflict, conquest, and cultural exchange. Today, as we examine these ancient peoples, we see that the Philistines were not merely villains or enemies but a complex civilization, born from chaos, shaped by migrations, and driven by the pursuit of survival and prosperity. Their story reminds us of the enduring human spirit, the blending of cultures, and the ongoing quest for identity in a world of changing tides. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating history of the Philistines and their significant role in biblical history, please like, comment, and share your thoughts below. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the ancient world and biblical stories. Share this video with your friends and family to spread the knowledge of our rich heritage. Thank you for watching and for being part of this journey through history and faith. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode.